Hey everybody, I'm Hala. I'm a therapist and a yoga teacher, and I'm so glad you've decided to join me for this practice today. Hey everybody, welcome to Yoga for Anxiety 2. Don't worry if you didn't do the first Yoga for Anxiety video. This one just has a slightly different focus. In this class, we're going to focus on the legs, the hips, and the lower body. That's an area that we can hold a lot of tension in addition to the shoulders, the neck, the jaw, and the upper body. So notice how you're feeling right now and make sure that if there's anything I have you do in the practice that doesn't feel right or if it kicks up your anxiety, I want you to back off. We're going to start laying down on our backs. So go ahead and make your way onto your backs with your knees bent. Take your feet wide and let your knees fall in towards each other. And then notice if you want to have your hands on your body or alongside your body. It's really your choice. And with your knees falling in, see if you can let your legs release a little bit. And let's take a few deep breaths here. And if you're feeling anxious in the moment, check in with yourself. How does it show up in your body? Is it tension in your chest? Do you feel like your heart is racing? Just name it for yourself, because sometimes just giving words to what we're feeling can help settle a little bit. And gently hug your knees into your chest and draw them in a bit. Hug the knees in. Again, make sure you're not straining too much. Move your head side to side. So even though we're focusing on the hips, the whole body is deeply connected. And if we're tightening the neck when we're stretching the hips, we're simply transferring the tension from one area to the other. From here, keep the right knee hugged in, extend the left leg. You can put the foot on the floor or extend the leg straight. And as you draw the right knee in, you might feel a stretch at the top of your left thigh. So the quadriceps and the hip flexors are fight or flight muscles. They're gonna get tight when we feel stressed. So you might feel a stretch here. Send your breath into that area. And then switch sides. Hug the left knee in, extend the right leg, either foot on the floor or extend it straight. And as you draw the left knee in, reach through that right leg. Notice if there's tension at the top of that right thigh. Breathe into it. We can't force our body to relax, or we can't force tension to release, but we can attend to the sensation and invite it to release. So one more invitational breath. And then hug both knees into your chest. We'll take a gentle twist. It can be nicer to use a block. So if you have a block or a pillow, you can put it between your knees and drop your knees over to the right side. Stack your knees. Left arm is gonna reach out to the left. And I'm gonna invite you to look towards your bent knee here. You might feel a stretch here on the left shoulder. Let your belly relax. Take a couple of breaths. And then gently come back to center. Adjust your hips a little bit and then drop your knees over to the other side. This time let the right elbow bend and you're looking towards your left. We're just opening up the spine here, warming up. 2 more deep breaths. You want to avoid any sharp sensations in the low back. Keep the belly muscles a little bit engaged. And then gently come back to center. Let's put the feet down. Let's put the block aside. From here, let's cross the right ankle over the left knee. Flex the foot and press the knee away from you. If you're getting a stretch, stay here. Otherwise, draw the left leg in towards you and hold on to the back of your thigh or the top of your knee. Find that first edge, the edge that you can breathe with. And we're gonna try to do our best to stay present with the tension in the hips. So again, the hips, the low back, all these muscles can get impacted when we feel anxious. And sometimes it's the tension in our body that sends a signal to our brain that tells us we should be anxious, but we actually don't need to be anxious. So releasing the tension here can help us get attuned to our environment a little bit more precisely, rather than feeling like things are bad or things are scary unnecessarily. Sometimes we're just holding that energy in our nervous system and we're reading the outer world by what's happening inside of us. So just take a couple more breaths here. You can let yourself rock a little bit here as well. If you notice that that allows you to release, go ahead and do that. Don't be too aggressive. Don't go in too deep, because then your body will actually go into a form of fight or flight. Go ahead and release and uncross the legs and switch sides. Left ankle over the right knee. Again, you can stay here or draw the right leg in towards you. And remember, if we're practicing yoga to deal with anxiety, we're trying to recalibrate the nervous system. We don't want to be aggressive with the body, but we also, for some of us, if we're not going in deep enough, the mind will wander. We need sensation to anchor our consciousness in. So I want you to track your own body. What's the level of tension or sensation that can maybe ground you in present time? And try to offer your breath to that sensation. Take one more deep breath, sigh it out. Release your legs and uncross them. And tilt the pelvis forward and back a little bit here. All right, let's hug the knees in. We're gonna make our way up to sit for a moment. And let's make our way onto our hands and knees. Hands underneath your shoulders, knees underneath your hips. I want you to engage your belly muscles a little bit here. If you've done my other videos, you've heard me talk about centering and how important that is. So for a moment, keeping the tops of your feet on the floor, lift your knees, and you might feel your belly muscles working a little bit more. That's centering. And then bring your knees down. Step your right foot forward and come on up and place your hands on the top of your right thigh. Bring a little tone to the belly muscles. Remember, we still want to be centering ourselves. Drop in just to the point where you get a stretch in the back leg. You can curl the back toes under if that lets you feel more stable. So once we get here, it can get a little bit intense. So the work is to try to keep the breath as consistent as possible and to try to be in a semi-relaxed state, even as you're connecting with the tension in the legs. So you can deepen your breath here, of course. Next option is to reach the left arm up and lean to your side a little. So we get into the psoas muscle, another one of those muscles that can get contracted when we feel anxious or tense. Take a breath here and then give it a sound. Release it down. You might let your hips drop for a moment here. And then come back onto hands and knees. And switch sides. Left foot forward, hands to the top of the front thigh. Same thing, curl the back toes under if you want. Drop in a little, start to find your first edge. Center yourself. And remember, our goal is to be present in our bodies so that we can move through and transform these energies that are stuck. We can think about it symbolically that way. So find that edge. Once you feel the sensation, then your work is to practice presence. Breathe with the tension. You might even set an intention to allow this tension to leave your body, but you can't force. Next option is the right arm comes up. You can move this left hand up a little. Lean to your left a little. Get into that psoas muscle. Here, I'd love for you to make a sound. Deep inhale. And then release. Bring the hands down. You can use blocks or put your fingertips to the floor. Hips drop just a little bit. And then back up onto hands and knees. And from here, round your back. And then arch the spine. And then let's circle through the hips here. One circle in each direction. Good, so in addition to stretching these tight muscles, we need to build stability. Sometimes the muscles get tight because other areas are weak. So we're gonna do some stability here. Start by extending the right leg back And lift the ribs into the body, use your belly muscles here, and then lift the right leg up nice and strong. Next option is to reach your left arm forward. If this feels like too much, keep your left hand on the floor. Reach super long, and then bring your left hand down. We're gonna tap the right toes on a diagonal across the body 5 times. So now we're getting into the hamstrings, the gluteus medius muscles. The more we can strengthen these support muscles, the more that the larger muscles that often get tight can begin to release. So strengthening is actually a really important thing here. Now bend the right knee and push your foot straight up to the sky. Make sure you're not dumping your ribs to the floor. Keep lifting them into your body. Our intention is to build stability here. And then extend the legs straight. One more breath, reach super long and bring it down. Round your back for a moment. Come back to center. Let's take the other side. Left leg extends. Take a moment here to make sure the hands are strong and firm on the ground. Float your left leg up. Keep lifting through the belly muscles. Next option is the right arm reaches. Get really long. Keep breathing. Release the right hand down, and without moving anything else, tap your left toes across 5 times, as if you were drawing a straight diagonal line. You'll feel this in the muscles on the left side of your butt, the gluteus medius muscles. And then bend the knee and push your foot straight up. Keep the ribs lifting into the body. This is gonna burn a little bit, but you're getting stronger. You're giving yourself stability. Extend the leg nice and straight. One more breath. And release it down and round your back. Good. Sit back in child's pose for a moment. Big toes together, knees apart. Come down onto your elbows and just let your head hang. And let your hips wiggle. Let your belly get soft. And just notice how you're feeling in the hips and thighs. If you feel tight, or the opposite, maybe you don't have any tension. Maybe you're hypermobile and you need to build strength. All that is going to help us regulate ourselves and feel more stable and more grounded. We're going to get onto our backs one more time. This time we're going to get into the legs this way. So laying down here, again, take a moment just to let yourself settle. From here, we're going to grab our block. And if you don't have a block, you can use a pillow. Put the block between your knees. This is gonna keep your knees lined up. This is another stability pose to help to build the support in the lower body so we can release tension strategically. Heels underneath your knees. Press down into your feet and lift your hips halfway up towards bridge. Now engage the stomach muscles just a little bit. I want you to think of this as a grounding pose. Be aware of all 4 corners of the feet making contact with the ground. Your thigh muscles are gonna start to work here. And remember, if you start to feel yourself get activated, if your anxiety gets kicked up, come on down. Sometimes when we're anxious, actually getting the heart rate going and doing strong poses can help us settle, but sometimes it feels like it kicks it up. So just check in with your own system and see what's true for you. So pushing into the feet, lift up towards bridge, halfway there. Take a couple of breaths here and try to maintain the curve in your neck. You don't want to push your chin into your chest too much. Now, if this feels like enough intensity, I want you to stay here. The next option, push into your right foot and extend that left leg straight. So we're really grounding through the right leg here. Keep those front hip bones as even as you can. One more breath. Release the left foot down. Try to even out those hips. Push into the left foot and extend the right leg straight. Breathing. I know this can get intense, but we're building a sense of grounding in the legs here. Release. We're gonna do 2 more sets. You can come down anytime. It's important you challenge yourself to the level that feels appropriate for you. 1 more set if you like, extending one leg, release, switch sides. And then both feet on the floor, pause a moment, really feel your legs, notice the sensations. 1 more breath, and slowly come on down. Put your block aside. And just for a moment, we're gonna get into the abdominals. And remember, this balance between finding stability and letting go of tension is really key. It's not just about trying to release the tense parts of our body. We have to add stability so that the body can let go a little bit. So let's lift the feet up off the floor. Move your ribs into your body. Feel your sacrum on the floor, but there's a little bit of space underneath your low back. But there's a little bit of space underneath your lower back. Interlace the fingers behind your head and just relax the head into your hands. Feel your belly muscles here. If this is too much, feet can go down on the floor. Otherwise, from here, we're gonna slowly bicycle the legs. So the intention here is building stability in the abdominals, stability so that we can let go. Sometimes when we do abdominal work, it can feel a little bit like I'm supposed to have a flat stomach or some sort of punitive thing. Try to shift it. Our intention is centering. Our intention is building our internal power. From here, let's take a couple of twists, taking the shoulder to the opposite knee. Add in your breaks whenever you need them. Let's take one more to each side. Make sure you're breathing. Good, and then release your feet down. And pause here. You can take the feet wide and let the knees go side to side a little here. So we just worked, we just built stability. Now we want to do a little bit of releasing. All right, we're gonna make our way up to standing. Hug your knees in and rock on up to sit. We'll make our way up to standing. And take your legs wide, feet pointing straight front. Place your hands on your hips and take a moment here. I like to call this superhero pose. So feel that archetypal energy. Feel what you stand for. Feel your own strength, your own presence. And even if that doesn't feel strong for you, sometimes you gotta fake it before you make it type of thing. Just invoke that. What might it feel like to feel supported in your legs, supported, grounded, and able to relax into that support? Let's reach the arms out wide and turn your right leg out and your left toes in. We'll come into warrior two. Bend that right knee. Same thing here. Let's pulse a little bit. And we're looking for invoking as much support in the legs as we can so we can feel expansive in the upper body. Bring your left hand to the hip, right palm up, and take a gentle side bend. Drop in a little deeper. And then come on out and extend out. Bring your hand or your forearm to your thigh and reach the left arm over the ear. So remember, our intention here is to build stability in the body. So notice what adjustments you might need to make to really feel supported in your legs. Bring a little tone to the belly muscles so we're centering ourselves. And then see if you can feel an opportunity to expand. The more we ground, the more we center, the more we can open up. Press up to stand. Try to stay in it for a moment and bring a little movement to your shoulders. So notice, can your legs be working, but you're not all tight in the upper body? So we're trying to disrupt some of those patterns. And then straighten the leg, parallel your feet. Let's pause here in superhero for a moment. Take a breath. Open your arms wide. Take the left leg out, the right toes in. Bend that left knee, warrior two on this side. Right hand to the hip, gentle side bend. So try to stay present in your body, grounded, centered, expanding. On the inhale, come on up and extend. Hand or forearm to thigh, top arm reaches over the ear. Find a gazing point that works for your neck. We're trying to remain regulated in every pose. Again, track your nervous system. If your anxiety gets kicked up, notice, do I need to ground more? Do I need to back off? Do I need to breathe? Stay curious. Let's take a couple more breaths here. Press back up to warrior two, and if you can, stay in it and bring a little movement. Again, you might shake the shoulders. I know it might feel a little bit funny, but we're trying to train the nervous system. Can things be challenging, and can we still feel a little bit loose in the upper body? Can we still know we're okay? Straighten that front leg, parallel the feet, pause, hands on hips. Another breath in superhero. Let's bring the legs together and just shake the legs out a little bit if you like. And let's have a seat. So find a comfortable seat. Please sit on something if that helps you find length in your spine. And just take a moment, maybe even move a little side to side. Notice how the legs are feeling. Notice how your nervous system is feeling. Do you feel a little bit more settled? Do you feel activated? Do you feel the same? It's really important that you feel empowered around your yoga practice to notice what works for you and what doesn't. You're not doing it wrong if a particular practice doesn't work. Look for anything that might be feeling a little bit better. Check in. And then place one hand on your heart and one hand on your belly. You might be at solar plexus, you might be at low belly. See where you intuitively go. If you want to close your eyes, you can. Once again, go inside. Notice how you are now. Has anything released that was with you when you began? And is there anything with you now that wasn't when you started? And do your best to witness yourself with kindness, with generosity. And then release your hands. Bring your palms together and press the hands into each other, finding grounding through the hands. And then as you bow down, I always like to invoke gratitude. Gratitude for every breath we take, for all the practices that we find that heal us. May all beings on this planet find practices to heal, to breathe, and to be free. One more deep inhale. Namaste.